Andy's hatred of common plugs,
Well, I wouldn't be opposed to having a USB-C port. It is interesting that, technologically speaking, it makes more sense to go the Thunderbolt route, where you have nothing inside the port in the computer that could break, like the little, very delicate USB-C piece that's inside the computer. But I don't really have a opinion one way or the other.
Hello, it's We Were Gamers episode 417. How's it going, Andy?
I spent the last 23 minutes waiting for Discord to do anything. That's how it's going. Also, Spectrum came today. They said the problem with their system isn't with their system, but that it's with their system. Just not their system here. So their system somewhere else. And no one in the somewhere else, nor the here, can solve the issue.
In a shocking turn of events, they didn't blame themselves.
Yeah, they didn't. I'm going to hang this up and see if I can get into the call through my computer now. Give me 2 seconds.
Oakley dokley. How you doing, Michael?
I'm pretty good, currently sitting in between the fires that are raging up here.
Oh, yeah, there are. I'm here. I wonder what the recording's going to look like with people jumping in and out of channels. But maybe people can hear that we are actually trying for good audio quality.
Well, you heard it here first. We Were Gamers first, attempting to get good audio quality.
Once in a while.
Live on air.
Yeah, I hope everyone's okay. I haven't heard about too much damage from the fire yet, but that can change.
We saw one on the freeway on our way home from a family thing this past weekend, and not like, it was off over there, like not right next to the freeway, but you could see the smoke.
At the military base?
Yeah, we just drove right by because that's what you do on the freeway. But
that one's still going, but it's not near anything, I don't think.
Yeah, it's out in the hills near no one, so not a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. We're in a lovely, lovely environment.
It's that time of year, man. I mean, I'm surprised we made it this far without nothing major.
This is the first day down here. The heat finally broke. It was under 90 for the first time in a week.
It felt almost chilly, which is such a bizarre feeling when
it did not. You're a liar.
I am extremely excited. The weather forecast says 76 tomorrow. I'm like, holy shit, it may just be winter.
Hey, fall's right around the corner.
We don't get fall in Southern California, Michael. Come on, be real.
Not enough trees to change. How would you know?
Exactly. All right. Everyone's doing good. I'm sure the number one thing everyone subscribes to this podcast for is to listen to us complain about fantasy football. So let's just get that out of the way.
I don't have much to complain about. I held it together week 1 with the tried and true version of my strategy. So things are holding up okay.
The don't draft Christian McCaffrey strategy.
I drafted him last year and it worked out great. This year I'm loving how there are sounds coming out of my computer, even though there shouldn't be. This is wonderful. I have everything.
The notifications sounds are a different setting in Discord because it's a cool app.
No. These are my PC settings, which are sent to my headphones specifically. So somehow, in reinstalling Discord or whatever we had to do here, that has now. I'm going to defenestrate my entire life of this computer.
Are you happy that we taught you that word?
Good usage. Well done.
Yeah, this computer will be defenestrated.
And you actually have like an upstairs window, which is like the appropriate place to do it from.
I may do the downstairs window just the parts that I think are causing problems.
Selective defenestration.
Yeah, that might be it. No. Christian McCaffrey, status uncertain versus Vikings. So sorry to everybody that took him number 1, I guess.
Hopefully they had the fortitude and wherewithal to draft his backup. Otherwise, the person who did is really happy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I live another week in the Guillotine League, thank goodness. And I got completely destroyed. The score was close, but I needed an unlikely series of events to happen on Monday night, and that's usually a bad way to leave.
Was there guillotining already in that league, or did they wait more than 1 week?
No, person got cut the first week.
There are more people this year, right? So you can't do every other week anymore.
Yeah, we got 16 teams this year.
Oh.
So that draft was long, but someone dies every week. So,
and what's the other big ones? Puka Nakua, right? He was in the top 10 receivers that got drafted this year.
And he's out 4 weeks at least.
This time I was the beneficiary of that, having Cooper Kupp going for 25 points.
It's okay. Don't worry. My big reveal is I picked up Achin after last year thinking, he's so good last year. He's not going to get injured again. Listed with an ankle injury Monday morning on a Thursday game. So guess who's not playing this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I split mine. So I handily won in one of my leagues, and then the other I stole a page out of your book, Andy. Second highest score in the league, but playing against the highest score this week.
Truly the worst.
It's a fate worse than losing.
The fantasy gods are cruel.
Yeah.
They are. It feels good to me that I had the highest score of a losing team, but I didn't play the highest guy. I played someone else.
Yeah. Scores were wacky week 1, as they always are. So
yeah. It's going to be one of those where a bunch of these people who scored 1 million points this week are going to have no games above 10 points for the rest of the season, and people are going to be real sad.
Yeah. Well, I have to play against McCaffrey this week, so
you're praying he doesn't start.
I would appreciate it.
Or at least is on a snap count.
Also fine.
I read something that I thought was a good analysis of that situation, and they're like, the value of Christian McCaffrey's legs in these games versus the value of Christian McCaffrey's legs in the playoffs. And they're like, you sit him in these games, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, I put in a waiver request on Mason because he's available in our league. So
yeah, I would spend for him. He's good. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, being somewhat of a newer player league, there's no waiver money, which makes me sad. But
it's still worth it for them if you get him, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm 9th on the list because I won. So another frustration of mine with how that system works.
Yeah. All right. I know everyone is bored with fantasy
That's
football.
enough. Yeah.
Rant over.
Let's go with what they really are looking for, the updates on Hank and Frank.
Yes. I texted asking for updates on Hank and Frank. So this had better be a weekly situation, or at least this week, because we need to know what the heck happened with the aquarium.
So they came back. They're alive, still with us. Although Hank is the shy one, so it doesn't like to do stuff while people are paying attention to it, I guess. But yeah, they're still there, still being crabs, whatever it is that hermit crabs do.
What do crabs do?
Doing crab stuff. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know exactly the status of the tank, but the teachers don't seem to be like up in arms about it, so it must be resolved, somewhat.
Okay.
Amicably, I guess. But yeah, unclear exactly what's going on there. Very strange, that whole situation. But the important thing, the crabs are alive and well.
They are. Okay. And they've taken residence in what exactly? Shells, right?
Yeah. One is in a pink shell, and the other one is in a yellow shell, I believe.
All right. Pink and yellow. Do we know who's who currently?
I believe Hank is in the yellow one.
Okay.
I think I got that right.
All right. We got to keep track.
Yeah, there are other shells in the tank. God knows when, maybe they could have moved around or switched shells in the night. I don't know, man. It's not.
They do that. Yep.
They do. Yeah, you got to watch out.
So I'm sure that was the bated breath ending from last episode. So everyone is.
Yeah. Well,
everyone's back.
Okay.
Well, speaking of school, Michael, you said you had a math problem for me.
Oh no! I have to pick it up. Okay,
I was going to say, Andy, do you want to introduce it?
You're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to back me up on some of the problems with this, but I will read it verbatim. JJ, verbatim. Okay.
So set the stage on where this comes from.
Should I?
I think the context of it is a little bit important.
Well, the context is this is 4th grade math homework.
Okay.
Specifically 4th grade math homework that appears to have been handwritten. Which possibly we are debating multiple ideas of what the intention versus the question. Okay.
Are we doing word problems in 4th grade already? Is that?
Oh yeah, we are definitely. Buddy, they teach algebra starting in 2nd grade now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like a subtraction is an algebra problem starting in 2nd grade. They did just introduce the idea that algebra is normal to think through right away.
I mean, which it is, so that's fair.
That's fine. I have no necessary problems with the math homework, nor the teacher. Nor the math homework the teacher is teaching, none of it. But it caused a little bit of a debate. And you have to hear the question first, I think, to understand where we get into some sort of existential problems.
Okay.
Jackson is a chef. He
Irrelevant
is making...
statement discarded.
Okay, maybe not. Jackson's a chef, JJ. So we can
debate that point too.
Well, he might have intentions, and therefore we need to take that into account. He is making hamburgers for a party. He will use 2 buns for each hamburger.
This is sensible so far.
How many will he need to make 18 hamburgers?
Okay. Is this like a trick question?
Is it?
Well, so here, JJ. Let me
get in there, Michael.
Picture,
now you got to get it.
Without thinking about it. Picture a hamburger bun. How many slices of bread is a hamburger bun?
Now, I think I see where you're prodding here.
This is where we get. This is where we get into the problem.
What does the question say, Angie? What does the question say?
That's exactly what it says. Jackson is a chef.
Yeah, we don't care about that part.
No, we do about the buns? We don't. He is making hamburgers for a party.
Mm-hmm.
He will use 2 buns for each hamburger.
There you go. That's the only sentence you needed. So the answer is 18 times 2. That's it.
So mathematically, we all believe that is the correct answer to this question.
Yes.
But we also need to know if Jackson has taken unsliced buns and slapped one on each side of the hamburger to create a massive burger.
Now,
if Jackson has sliced buns into 4 slices and is using them in some sort of Big Mac style, or whether what was meant to have happen here is 2 slices for each hamburger, one bun.
He's using Texas toast for buns, and see that's the trick. They didn't tell you that part.
See, Jackson's a chef. It's possible he's using Texas toast for buns.
This is a patty melt he's making.
Now
we didn't consider that.
We also did not complicate it by telling you, JJ, that they were given a fact family for the problem.
Oh, I don't even know what that is, and it would have complicated it, I'm sure.
The fact family for the problem was 2, 9, and 18.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what 9's about, but sure. Yeah, okay.
I don't either, considering,
Exactly.
but it makes you wonder what the intention of those buns means.
I love the idea that there's no. Is there a world where the answer is just 18 buns? Like,
Is there a world where it's 9 buns?
no.
I
Because now you're slicing
Well-
them in half and half
well,
again.
well, JJ, that's the answer that my fourth grader came up with to start this problem.
Your daughter arrived at 9 buns with this problem.
Yes, but to be
Are we-
fair,
are
She was given a fact family
she was
where
given
she
a fact
had
family and had to figure out what the 9 meant. So now we're left to know what Jackson's doing with the buns.
Here's the question, really, right? Is this meant I understand these word problems are given, as both reading comprehension and math, kind
They
of
are,
at
yes.
the same
There
time. That's
have
the whole
been
thing.
intentionally trickstery questions before.
Right. This doesn't appear to be one of those from the layman's reading,
I understand that, yeah.
but yeah, I don't know how you get 9. I don't know where 9's
I don't
involved.
Yeah. Well, we worked on it together to say that no matter what may have been discussed in class, given the question as written, we should answer 36.
Yeah, I think that's the correct answer. Yeah.
And if there's a problem beyond that, we can work through it with the teacher.
Yeah, I was going to say, did the teacher gainsay this or something?
I was
More to
also
come.
told I was also told earlier that the teacher had told them 7 times 4 is 14, which I know is not true. So
Oh my! Do we need to be in this math class anymore? Or maybe we need
Well,
to
no,
be in
I-
a different one where
I
the teacher knows how to
1,000
multiply.
well, I 1,000% don't believe the teacher told them 7 times 4 is 14. So
Something's being lost in translation.
I think that's possible that
Maybe there was a misunderstanding there.
I think the idea was in that math problem that it was 7 times 2 times 2. So they were trying to say 7 times 2 is 14. 14
And then-
14 is,
28. Yeah,
28. Yeah.
I get you. Math is complicated.
Well, interestingly, and I've discussed this with some other parents, they teach it with like the idea that some people like to think about math differently. The way that I solve multiplication in estimation and my spouse solves multiplication in estimation are completely different. And so I like the idea that these math teachers and books are taking that into account. What I don't like is once they teach the 4 different ways of solving a math problem and complicate things and make it very hard for the students initially to understand, they don't then promote the idea, okay, now you know 4 ways to solve it, pick your favorite and stick with it.
Yeah, because they all work, right?
Right, they all work. So now, confidence has been given to you after the struggle, but that hasn't translated very well yet, so interesting theory.
Well, she
Weird
knows
in
algebra,
practice.
so you could just dump her right in and be like, well, X
Yeah,
plus
exactly.
whatever. And,
Yeah.
Mhm.
then start to be like, well, what about Y? We haven't talked about
What
Y
about
yet.
Y? Yeah. What if you had X and Y in one problem? What if they were both squared?
What about the chain rule? And just be like, calculus is actually useful, you guys. And then,
Mhm.
Yeah. That was a fun little are we all not as smart as we think we are? Math problem.
Do I not know what a hamburger is?
That was the thing, right? I would never say 2 hamburger buns. Bring me, like, if I said, okay, JJ, you're helping me at the grill, right?
Yeah.
You're helping me at the grill, and you're like, oh, what do you need? I'd be like, I need 6 hamburger buns because I've got, and you look down at the grill and you see 6 patties on the grill. Would I say I need 12 buns or would I say I need 6 buns?
yeah, I mean, assuming you're not crazy, you would say you need 6 because there's 6 burgers there.
So
right?
what is the chef doing with 2 buns per burger?
The ways of chefs are mysteries to us all.
Yeah.
Making them into grilled cheese first. There's your real solution.
It's got to be
Mhm.
Texas toast.
He's
is the
he's
answer.
only using the tops and the bottoms. He's making into something else. That's got to be it.
Oh,
Oh,
he's
you're
making
using
Death
a
Star
double
burgers?
top situation.
Yeah. He wants only tops.
Yeah, just flat straight in the trash, huh?
Yeah, this is a high class establishment.
I just couldn't. I got stuck on like what does she mean 2 buns? What do they mean by 2 buns? Two bun slices? 2 buns? Anyway, that's enough.
Don't apply adult thinking to fourth grade problems.
Yeah.
All right. We need Michael help us. We need to get out of this math morass.
Michael likes it.
Are we back to games? Is it games time now?
It might be games time.
Yeah, I finished that Visions of Mana demo.
So, how much more was there, and did you like it?
I was probably just shy of halfway through it when I talked
wow.
about it last time. Yeah, it
long.
it was pretty good. Yeah, there was a small story beat and little quests that you had to do at the end of it as well, in addition to the ones that were at the beginning, which was unexpected. I didn't expect there to be that much more to it, but it was good. It was good. There were several more side quests that you could do. They did put in the main goal of the demo was to get to a ship that was waiting in a nearby town, so you could catch it to a different city. No, sailing ship.
Oh.
But they did, in the town that you were trying to get to, they did put in a couple of shops, so you got to play around with the shop menu, which can definitely be hit or miss in an RPG.
Yeah, so is it a normal shop system or is it different?
Yeah, it's a relatively normal shop system. They have the thing that I consider kind of crucial to a good RPG shop, which is that it shows you the stat changes of the equipment that you're looking to buy versus the equipment that you have on your characters.
I certainly appreciate that when it's available, but it's not often available.
Yeah, which I think is a missed opportunity when it's not. One of the neat things I found about the shop is that some of the equipment is class dependent, and so your characters unlock different classes based on the element that you're aligned with. And so if you haven't unlocked certain elements, there will be equipment that shows grayed out with question marks in place of the job that it's aligned with. Which is kind of cool. But it also, when you see a weapon that you like, if it's a different class, if you have access to that class and you buy and equip the weapon, it'll automatically switch your class for you. So you don't have to go into the menu and change your class and come back to the shop and then buy the equipment.
That's cool.
It just says this piece of equipment is aligned with this class. Do you want to equip it? And it assumes that when you say yes, your intention would be to go and change to that class.
Are the classes different enough that like now you have to go do a bunch of other stuff also, or is it kind of just like
I didn't get a real good feel for that. You have different abilities, different spells that you can cast based on the class that you have selected, but I didn't get I didn't play around a lot with switching the classes before that, and so I didn't get a good feel on how different they are in terms of how they play and how the abilities differ from each other.
I guess something they're saving some of that for the game, I guess.
Yeah, but they give you a little taste of it. You can dive into the menus and play around with it if you want.
Cool. So overall impressions?
Very good, very positive. I am super excited. It feels like a worthy successor and a good job of bringing a beloved franchise into the modern era. So I'll be excited to one day, sometime, probably not soon, actually play through this.
Well, that sounds like a glowing endorsement, effectively.
Yeah, so high on my list of want to play.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool. I played more of the Trails from Daybreak. It's kind of the only thing I've really been up to. But I did, in video game news, take a look at some of that video footage coming out of the Space Marine 2, Andrew.
Dude.
Looks pretty good.
We've been looking for a new game to do with the group because most of the games out there that are multiplayer games, like we were playing, Warzone and Apex and all these others, are overrun with cheating and overall not that enjoyable, to be honest. Many of them are it's just not fun. So we were looking at an older game, Ghost Recon Wildlands. I don't know if you remember that one.
I think I saw some stuff about it, but I've never played it.
Yeah. Kind of an open world game, kind of like the State of Decay style, where you have like a base and you kind of like have loadouts and you run around this area, try and fight cartels and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'll talk about that more next week. I was trying to convince the group that Space Marine 2 was where it's at. Hit us with what you saw, man, because I have not seen enough of it yet.
The only limitation, I think, is that the co-op stuff is limited to you and 2 others. So if you have a larger group, that ain't going to do it.
Yeah, not a problem.
But man, I really have mostly seen just the single player campaign stuff. But it other than like the very first mission, which you kind of have to do, it's kind of the tutorial-y type mission. It seems like every other mission has co-op available. You can just join campaign co-op. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. So it has both PvP and PvE then?
I don't know. There is some sort of multiplayer mode. I know nothing about it, basically. There is also a co-op, like operations type mode, like 3 versus PvE type stuff that's different from just the campaign. I've seen like a couple missions of that, but I don't really have like much insight into how it goes. It's just like I watch some people play it. It looks like the campaign. I don't know if they're just starting out. Maybe it gets crazy later. No idea. But dude, I want to play this campaign really bad.
I can't tell how much of it is scripted. Like, I was watching the tutorial mission and a lot of people were like, oh, how am I going to fight all these? Oh, I turn this direction and there's a bunch of grenades. Oh, how am I going to do that? Oh, well, there's only one hive thing that I'm fighting. So
this isn't an open world game. So like everything
it's
is
all going to be scripted, right?
Yeah, like the enemies are the enemies. But when you see the Tyranids swarm in over the hills, it looks really freaking cool, dude.
The look on it is awesome. I can't even begin to tell you.
And the thing that I think is probably the coolest is like as you see the swarm pouring into the gates of the building, and you're standing up on like the battlement above, you can shoot those guys down there, like, and they die. Yeah. It's cool. It's not like just a fake, rendered scene of hundreds of guys running at you. You can shoot those guys. You can throw a grenade down there and they blow up. Like it's sick looking.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah. The rest of it is the standard. Like, it's cool to see, the 40K stuff in high resolution. It looks like they did a bunch of cool stuff. Most of the game is the Ultramarines again, which,
look, they're the poster boys for the game. I mean, there's not much you can do about it. They're the poster boys for that universe.
The most standard of Marines, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like it's a interesting story. You get a lot of cool weapons. I've seen some later game footage where they have the what is it? The power? Is it a power hammer? It's the big long staff and the a warhammer on the top, like big square thing.
Yeah, you can't carry a ranged weapon when you have one of those.
But
at least in the game.
You get a giant leap and slam down attack, which looks sick. So yeah, some people have said some stuff about the campaign that I'm cool to see where it goes. It sounds like it's, some people were like, the last like 2 missions of this campaign made me want to run through walls for the Emperor kind of stuff. So that's very cool.
There is a hot meme market. I think a lot of people have been very disappointed recently in Helldivers. The community of Helldivers is one of the ones that I just had to unsubscribe from on Reddit. It's just complain mode all the time, which is too bad for a single like non-competitive game to just get trashed by people worrying about balance changes. Like who cares? They made something weaker. Find something else to have fun with.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is kind of the way live service games go, right? They just devolves into the most established people constantly talking about whatever the newest thing is, and people who show up later and are like, I had fun playing this game. They're like, shut up, nerd. It's like,
yeah,
they just get shouted down.
Yeah,
by angry.
You really
people.
do get shouted down pretty quick. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Which is why I'm not so interested in the multiplayer aspects of this. Maybe they're good. I have no idea, but I'm really interested in how cool the campaign looks. So,
yeah, it looks fun.
It looks. The thing that does look cool though is there also is in the multiplayer modes you get like emblem editors. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff with your loadouts.
Oh, you can kind of like really change up your Ultramarine. I mean, I've seen people even changing the armor colors, maybe.
Yeah, dude, you can just be the other Marines, I think.
Oh, you could just be like, I'm a Space Wolf now.
I don't know about Space Wolves because they have a bunch of weird stuff, right? Like they're not giving you pelts. But you want to use Space Wolf colors and put a Space Wolf emblem that you designed on there. Yeah.
All right.
Like, I saw people using the Templar colors. I saw people using, all kinds of other colors too. So.
Yeah, I wonder if they have like, since you're fighting Tyranids the whole time, Tyranids, by the way, like pyramids.
Spoiler alert, it's not only Tyranids.
Well, I was going to say like Deathwatch would be the all black color scheme also.
The first mission of the campaign involves the Deathwatch, Andrew.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm not a total idiot.
Do you remember what happened at the end of Space Marine 1? Did you play that game?
I have not played it yet. Let's check my Steam library. Go on while I check my... It's not open.
Okay. There's some connective tissue here.
Do they follow the books? Do you know?
The character in the first game was an invention.
Okay. He was
not a book character.
Space Marine Anniversary Edition right here. Maybe I should install this.
It's a game from like 2011. So, I don't know that you need to do that.
Oh, let's see. What does How Long to Beat say? Because I could just,
It's not a terribly long game. But I don't know that... I think the issue you'll have is I bet it doesn't run good on a Steam Deck.
Oh, don't say that.
It's old, dude.
I mean,
it's old.
I have an expensive PC. I could just play it on that. 9 hours.
Yeah, it's not that long.
No. So
but you also then might burn out on, your zeal for the Emperor may decrease by the time.
Yeah, well, my zeal for the Emperor waits for Steam sales. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Unless a bunch of people come to me tomorrow and say they're going to be playing this multiplayer for a lot, I think I can wait a little. I mean, it looks awesome. I'm glad they made it. I'm glad they're making 40K games. It's funny that the big review of Helldivers was like, wouldn't this be cool if it was a 40K game? And then the 40K game came out and everyone's like, no, this is pretty dang cool, dude.
I wonder if the people that were funding it were like, we're funding this 40K game. Look, it's like Helldivers. And then they saw this game coming down the pipe and they're like, we're just going to move this money over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really sweet. So
Focus Entertainment's logo looks like the old Guerrilla Studios logo, which is weird to me. Guerrilla Interactive from Sony.
Don't know that I could tell you anything about that.
Oh, okay. Well,
Cool.
There you go.
So yeah, that looks really sick.
It does.
I'll
look
probably
cool.
play that eventually.
Do you remember when we had to make do with PlayStation 2 Tau Fire Warrior? That was the only 40K games we could get.
Can't say that I do remember that, Andrew.
Oh, well, I do. And poor Kays. I think his name was Kays.
Who thought the Tau were a good choice? Are they popular even? Were they good at the time? Is that why?
The Tau have always, yes, they introduced them as the new race after however many years of having had Warhammer 40K on the market. And they were like, well, we got to make them good. And they looked so different than everybody else. And they were like the bestest of the best, right? Like the humans were joining their cause because they realized how benevolent they were and everything else. And it was just like almost too much. You're like, we get it. We get it. Okay, they're the good guys now. They're the best ones. They had ridiculous rules where it was like one little battle suit could take out a whole squad of Space Marines. You're like, this is silly. So they got a reputation on the table, and then the game came out, and it was like, his name's Kays, and he's killing dreadnoughts by himself, and he's a fire warrior. And you're like, a fire warrior is no better than a Imperial Guardsman.
Astra Militarum, Andrew.
Oh, did they take down the name Guardsman? That's not a thing anymore.
They are no longer called the Imperial Guard. They are called the Astra Militarum.
Why did we make that change?
Shrugs in Games Workshop.
Okay.
Just like they also don't call them Space Marines anymore. They call them Adeptus Astartes all the time, right?
The game is called Space Marine, JJ. I don't think they're getting around that one.
I'm telling you what Games Workshop does. Also, like, Space Marines are old hat now. It's all about Primaris Marines, Andrew.
Well, the Primaris Marines are Space Marines. They're just a different generation.
Newer, better, bigger stats or whatever.
Yeah, so like somehow Palpatine returned sort of situation.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes.
And then they were like, what if we made the Space Marines better? Because everyone's complaining the tower is so good. And so they made Primaris Marines on the table. I mean, that's literally it.
I mean, all the Primarchs are coming back too now. So it's like, all over the place, right?
Well, that had started when we were still playing. They were like, ooh, there's whispers in the Eye of Terror, that all the Primarchs are actually trapped in there and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they didn't have like full models on the table, and they do now, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, come on. You made all this history, and everyone's like, these Primarchs are pretty cool. And like, yeah, it would be cool if you could play them, but they're dead. And then, sales.
Then they tried to sell that Horus Heresy spin-off game, and everyone was like, but why? And then they're like, yeah, you're right. We'll just bring them into 40K. It's fine.
I still like Games Workshop. I have no time to play tabletop miniatures games anymore, man, guys. But wouldn't it be cool if we did?
Sure would.
Rokel Dorn. What a name.
Robute Guillamon?
Guillamon?
Yeah.
I don't know that one. I know he's the Ultramarine guy, but I never knew how to say his last name.
Couldn't tell you. The funniest thing I saw in some of this coverage of this game was one of the YouTubers video I was watching was wearing a shirt that said Guillamon in the streets, Fulgrim in the sheets. And I thought that was very funny.
That is very funny. Michael.
Michael's just looking at us like,
Michael.
You lost me.
Fulgrim would be one of the heretic Primarchs that joined the Chaos Space Marines, which I'm sure are going to get a different name now or whatever. But
Shrugs and Chaos,
Yeah. The other. Yeah. Anyway. So there's 20 legions of Space Marines.
I was going to say that didn't really clear much up for me.
Fulgrim specific, like, I don't know the personality of Guillamon too well, but the Ultramarines are kind of like very much like rah-rah for the Emperor.
They basically set him up to be the new Emperor, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very much a like central figure to the story.
I mean, seriously, story wise, I think they're basically setting the story up to be like, he's leading the Imperium on a new crusade for a new golden age, and then after that, he's going to be the new emperor. Is my guess.
Andrew, you would never heresy our boy, the Emperor, like that, though. I know you wouldn't do that, so I'm going to just ignore your heretical sayings. And
Yeah.
you know,
Look,
but
you never see
Fulgrim
me
was
cross
like-
in front of the golden throne.
right? Who would?
Yeah.
Because he's definitely alive on there anyway. So like, how could
Well,
you replace him?
you
while he's
wouldn't
still
want to
alive?
because he would suck out your psychic essence immediately.
Which he would do if he was dead, but he's not. He's definitely still alive, right?
Yeah. 100%.
And the Adeptus Mechanicus is definitely not up to anything shady, I'm sure.
They've been up to something for like the entire time the game has existed, right?
Yeah. Anyway,
Their models got a lot cooler, dude.
dude,
I gotta say.
they have some very cool models these days. I will say, like every now and then,
So, Michael, there was this guy, and
So, Michael, there's 47 books. You can start at the first one.
there are like 47 books. What's funny about the
It's
47
probably
books-
more.
What's funny about them is like they start at, oh, I'm the emperor and you're my Primarchs, and everyone's kind of like, what? I'm just a dude on a planet. And he's like, yeah, but like you're my clones kind of, but only partially, and you were shot out into space accidentally because demons. That's how it starts, and they do like 6 straight books of that where you're like, okay, cool, like I kind of see where this is going. And then they're like, yeah, but what if we went further ahead and back into time over the next 8 books, not in any specific order.
Oh gosh.
It's funny because when we were playing, they were doing tons of books, but they were all about modern, quote unquote, like the time that the game was set in. It was not history stuff. And then they were like, we should do history books. And then everyone was like, that's a great idea. And then it got out of control really, really fast.
They did finally put out the Siege of Terra books, though. Like they actually told the story about what happens to the Emperor. You know,
Oh,
supposedly.
what supposedly happens to the Emperor?
Right. All right, that's a lot of 40K.
We could keep going. I would love to at some point. Maybe when we all play Space Marine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we don't want to talk people's heads off too long. Michael, why don't you rescue us here and tell people where they can send us important 40K lore questions?
Look, if you know where the Golden Throne actually is.
Wait, it's
You
not
can
on Terra, resided by the Holy Emperor in his palace?
Wait. But where on Terra?
Oh, I don't know.
That's what I want to know. That's what I'm saying. Like, right? Where on Terra? Also, is Terra Earth? Who can say?
They certainly talk about Mars, but I guess we don't trust the Adeptus Mechanicus, right? So it's a fair point.
Well, you should send all those answers to podcast@weweregamers.com. Andy and JJ are burning to know the answers to these questions and more.
I don't want to know answers. I just want to discuss it for hours on end.
Yeah, to be clear, the best part about 40K is arguing about the lore because there aren't answers to anything, which is the best part of it.
I think the best strategy 40K ever had was make people argue about the lore between their armies so that they don't argue about the rules.
I'm sure there are people doing that too, but the lore is more fun to argue about for sure.
People used to stand over the table with a little red stick to do all their measurements, okay? So
yeah, that's podcast@weweregamers.com. And we're on YouTube too. Check us out on there. Lovingly produced
youtube.com
videos.
youtube.com/@thewawriters. Is that right?
No, it's not quite right.
Oh. We painted it red so it goes faster at youtube.com.
Oh, Michael, in 40K, orcs are the most powerful psychic beings, and things work when they believe they will and don't when they don't believe they will.
100% true.
Also, they're kind of like
Seriously?
mushrooms.
JJ, you reminded me. That reminds me very strongly. I'm going to make a book recommendation to you if you haven't read the Thursday Next series.
Okay.
There's a major thread that interweaves in some of the books is time travel, and time travel works because they all assume that someone in the future will invent it.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that before. That's a short story that what's his name read. LeVar Burton read a story like that. I can't remember the name of it now. Yeah, pretty cool. I'm not going to get into it right now, but when you watch that Rings of Power season 2, there might be some questions about how orcs are not mushrooms that grow in the mud. Just saying.
Are they spelling with a C or with a K? That's the important difference.